Regarding the voting age, a couple of arguments did not come forward, like no taxation without representation, or subject to criminal law without representation. Can you comment on those?
Let's begin from the left side of the panel.
Yeah, excellent question. These are arguments that I think are very important, but at least from a Norwegian context, it seems to me that these principal arguments, such as no taxation without representation, for instance, in Norway you can start paying taxes from your, you can, if you earn the money from the age of 13, you can actually pay taxes. So by that reasoning, we should actually be able to lower the voting age down to 13. I don't think anyone wants to do that, but there's a potential there. Same thing with what was the other? Criminal law. Same thing. You can be sentenced from the age of 15. I think personally, I think they are excellent arguments. But it seems to me that because the situation is at a standstill because of political will, it is not so much about the principal arguments, really. It is more about finding the right kind of the right way of selling it into the key politicians, because we know that these arguments can't really be countered properly by politicians who oppose lowering the age of voting. They very rarely do try to counter them when they are faced with them and try to sort of link it to something else. So it seems, at least for the Norwegian case, it's just it seems that these kind of arguments just aren't selling, because that's not where the issue is standing at the moment.
Well, I can agree fully with what you said. I mean, these issues, they were probably not presented on my slides, but certainly issues that has been brought up in the reports, and what you said about criminal law, I guess that was one of the reasons why the discussion was also about why 16, why not 15. In a sense, it could be because nothing says that it should be 16, but I also think that in Finland the discussion has, well, of course it has been around these issues, but then to be honest, of course the parties think about also, can we gain success from this or not, and this party election realities also may have an impact on the party's view on if it is a good or a bad thing to do.
Press. Takasi. Well, all of the arguments you good arguments, but I'm not sure if you want to turn public opinion, if you can turn them by rational arguments. I think this is somehow attitude, an emotional kind of view. If you want to have an emotional or more general argument, maybe this one helps. I think if you make political decisions, maybe you should think of what is the worst that can happen. In Austria, let's play this through for the Austrian case. Let's say the youngsters are not ready to vote. There are, I don't know the exact data. Maybe, let's say, 16 and 17 years old in Austria in total. We have 9 million people living here. Maybe 16, 17 years old make out, I don't know, 500,000 of the population. This is a really good guess. And we have 3 million people in Austria out of 9 million people that are 60 plus retired people. So let's say you make a referendum or you make a party vote. The old people, so to say, or the grown-ups, in fact, do not need to fear anything, because if the old people are in favor of any kind of referendum line or a party, they will always win this referendum. If the 3 million people, the old people, go to vote and vote for their party, they will always win all elections. This is, by the way, what happened with the abolition of military service in Austria. So this may be an emotional kind of approach. Maybe it's sometimes it needs more emotions.
So thank you for an interesting question. I can also relate to all of the panelists, and all your arguments were great. Also, I would like to mention something regarding Lithuanian experience. As you have said, taxes and criminal law. In Lithuania, you have partially criminal responsibilities since 17, and you can legally work, of course, part-time for 14. So you also can basically pay taxes. And of course, you can say now that partial responsibility is not enough, but let's look at this from a little bit different corner. And I really like the point that was raised in the presentation of Finnish experiences, because there was a slide, if you remember, of changing in voting ages, like during the years. And Lithuania has the same historic situation. We really relate a lot in this case, but basically what I'm trying to say with it, that the voting age was never a result of some kind of research. It is not equal a driver's test or something like that, but it really much depends on the social consensus. Now we live in a different times that we live in 100 years ago or something, and now we, as a society, by the referendum or by whatsoever, by members of the parliament, can agree on a new consensus if we see that this is needed. And basically also we should look back to one of the main principles of democracy itself, that the country is democratic when as much possible people are included into the process of democracy. So I think, of course, that first arguments of partial responsibility of law and taxes are important, but I would be assured that the other part that I mentioned outweighs that. So, yeah.
I feel that, I mean, if I can give my own